And welcome back to This Week in the USHL. Bernie Corbett with you once again. For the final time in 2010, we'll be taking a couple of weeks sabbatical, as will the USHL, before returning after the first of the year. The week of January 5th, we'll be back up and running and take you all the way through the excitement, the second half of the USHL playoffs, run toward the playoffs, and then through the postseason in the spring. Be here before you know it, the way time flies in the world of hockey. I want to thank Blake Coleman, our USHL current player feature, and now we want to move on to our USHL alumni segment, and we will have Rich Purslow with us. Rich is currently a senior at the University of Nebraska-Omaha, which is really the epicenter for the USHL. I mean, in terms of players, they lead the nation with 20 of the 26 players on the roster are USHL alumni, and want to ask Rich about that and a number of other things as the Nebraska-Omaha Mavericks are off to an excellent start this season. And Rich, I believe we got Rich on the line here. Rich, thank you very much for coming on to join us and taking time out of your schedule tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Rich, you're a native of Green Lawn, New York, and as many, you decided to take the USHL route. Talk a little bit about what the decision was to come to the USHL and put yourself in a very strong position for Division I hockey.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you knew that the USHL was the top league if you wanted to pursue college. And so when I was, trying to make my decision on different colleges, I didn't quite have the schools that I was interested in, and I knew that my route would be to the USHL, and it really helped propel me to a top Division I school.
You played in Des Moines for the Buccaneers and had a very successful team, 2005-2006 Clark Cup champions, and you played with a trio of current NHL players. Can you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like with three guys that are currently very prominent in the National Hockey League?
Yeah, that was an unbelievable team. Kyle Polso and Trevor Lewis really were great leaders on that team, and that was probably one of the funnest years I've had playing hockey. Being able to win that Clark Cup was unbelievable. You
played 2 seasons for Red Simon, and he's now back for a second tour of duty with the Buccaneers. And you played in one of the buildings that has a lot of character in the league, one of those great old barns, the Buccaneer Arena. You must have a lot of memories of the atmosphere and history of that building that was your home for 2 seasons.
Oh, that was a great building. The fans were unbelievable when I was there for my 2 years. Those 2 years I was there, I want to say we had almost a ton of sellouts, and the fans are they're so rowdy. They make it so difficult for all the opposing teams coming in, and it was just a great atmosphere to play in.
Well, your numbers were extremely gaudy when you consider how tough it is to score and to put up big numbers in the USHL. One of the reasons why it is so attractive to college recruiters is how competitive. But despite that, you put up some really prolific numbers, 82 points, and had an opportunity to lead the league in scoring and put yourself in a real strong position for Division I college. And what about the decision to come to Nebraska-Omaha? You now have seen a transition. You being a senior, you've seen a transition in the at the top in the coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 years we obviously had Mike Kemp as our head coach, and he did a great job. But the program, wanted to change, wanted something different. So they brought in Dean Blaze, and he's just done a fabulous job. He's an excellent coach. He's got a tremendous track record, and he's really taken the team to a whole new level.
And when you look at something different, the program overall, you're one of the guys that can say that you played in 2 different Division I leagues during the course of your tenure in college. What about that transition from the CCHA now to the WCHA?
Definitely. I mean, not many players get to do that. To experience all the different the ranks in both leagues is unbelievable. The CCHA was a great league. They have a tremendous amount of competitors, and teams like Michigan State, just great teams. But now being able to play in the WCHA is unbelievable. Getting to face off against Minnesota, North Dakota, it's just a very competitive, great league.
And the fact that the Mavericks are now number 8 in the country, I've been following them very closely. Had Dean Blaze as a guest in our Coaches Corner on our Pure Hockey on Campus program just back a couple of weeks ago. And one of the trademarks of the Dean Blaze teams at North Dakota was to have a real up-tempo attacking style. Seems to be to your liking right now. You're fourth on the team in scoring with 16 points, and that's a real solid start no matter what league you're playing in, CCHA or WCHA. That's very impressive at this point, Rich.
Yeah, definitely. He loves that fast-paced style. I mean, that's how we practice every single day, and I think that fits to me perfect. You know, I'm a smaller guy with good speed, and so playing under him and his style is a definite benefit for me.
Being from the USHL, you now have a coaching staff that is made up entirely of former USHL coaches. Dean Blaze, Mike Hastings, and Mike Gunsel, both experience right there in Nebraska at the Omaha program in the USHL. What's that been like in terms of the season from last season now to this season to be under the guidance and tutelage of those guys that come from the league that you had your training in?
Oh, we have 3 tremendous coaches. You just want to every day just learn as much as you can from them. They're so knowledgeable about the game. They each have great track records in the USHL and college. So it's been unbelievable to learn the amount of stuff that they teach us every day in practice. So it's definitely benefiting me and the whole team.
You must see a lot of guys in your locker room and on the ice, particularly in the locker room with so many guys from the USHL. How's that familiarity? Is it pretty good in the locker room, but do you have a few old scores to settle when you see some of these guys that you might have played with 3 or 4 years ago or played against 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our team is made up of USHL guys, so there's always stories being tossed around, guys who fought other guys on the team in the USHL, so it's quite funny, and it's a good time. You know, everybody has stories to tell, and it's just nice to play against them and now play with them.
And you're right there. You haven't strayed too far from the USHL, Rich. Playing in Omaha, they've got that kind of a unique advantage, I think, with recruiting of having a team such as the Lancers right in their backyard.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helps with recruiting. You know, you get to see the Lancers practice every day, you know, if you want to, and a ton of USHL teams coming through to play the Lancers. So it definitely makes it a little easier on the coaches to go out there and recruit the top players.
Yeah, a little less wear and tear. They save on a little bit on their frequent flyer miles anyway.
Definitely.
And recently there was a terrific article written about a little bit about the background and the culture, a little bit of an education, I think, for people that don't know what the atmosphere is in the USHL with the billet families that host players. And just to talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you coming from New York and going to Des Moines for a couple of years, your billet family and what that experience was all about.
Yeah, coming from New York to Des Moines, Iowa is definitely culture shock, you know, a lot calmer out there. And
right.
But my billets were great. They're great people. They took me in, took care of me. So they definitely do a great job in the USHL with all the different billet families and just making sure the kids that are coming in are real comfortable and happy in their surroundings.
You got a second half of the season to look forward to and a little bit of time off with Nebraska-Omaha, although I believe you play this weekend. You're one of the few teams that's in action this weekend. Then you'll be able to get a little bit of time off.
Yeah, we play up at Colorado College this weekend, and then we will get like 5 days off for Christmas break, and then we're right back at it.
Well, we want to wish you the best of luck, particularly here in your senior year, Rich, and great start for Nebraska-Omaha. They put themselves squarely in the mix for NCAA tournament consideration, and also not to discount the McNaughton Cup and pursuits in the WCHA, but with an 11-4-1 record out of the gate, you guys looking real strong to be able to go to the dance come March and maybe into April with Dean Blaze, a guy who's been there a couple of times and won it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's we couldn't hope for a better start, so we're real happy with that. And it's a long season, though, so we just want to make sure we keep our foot on the gas pedal here and continue to do what we do.
Rich, thanks very much for joining us here on This Week in the USHL in our alumni segment, and we'll be following your progress down the road over the second half of the year.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Rich Purslow, senior forward, University of Nebraska-Omaha Mavericks, our guest in our alumni segment on This Week in the USHL.